Good morning. It's Eddie here again with the Rosano Group. So far in these videos, I've talked a little bit about some of the changes that Kayla and I have had to make within ourselves to get to where we're at today. I covered the cast of characters that helped shape our foundational belief system, learning to separate ourselves from thought patterns that no longer serve us, and the importance of writing your goals down to make them real and tangible. So today, I want to talk a little bit about perseverance, or our ability to pursue our goals. I truly believe that at the end of the day, we're all created equally, or at least with the same potential in life. And what tends to set us apart isn't so much our talent, background, or our circumstances, but our ability to persevere and overcome challenges. Once I heard this guy speak recently. He was working undercover for several years, but during the first week on the job, he took a gunshot wound point blank to his back. He held up his shirt, still covered in blood from that day, as he continued to tell his story. And to think that that's enough to make most of us quit, especially the first week on the job. But he didn't tap out. He kept going and pursued for several years. And as he told his story, you can't help but think that this guy was built differently. But then he said something that just stuck with me. I'm just an ordinary guy who was placed in not so ordinary situations. Don't get me wrong, we're all unique. No two people are the same, but we're all created equally. And he recognized that through God, we all have the potential to live an extraordinary life. So the real question becomes, how dedicated are you? Now I'm not trying to work undercover. I'm just out here trying to sell houses. But, will you fold under the first sign of pressure, or will you allow that pressure to shape and mold you into something stronger, into something unbreakable? So yeah, we all face different circumstances, and life itself is not equal. But that comparison robs us of joy and steals, from the meaning of our own accomplishments. And what's sad is that so many people tend to tap out just inches before striking gold. Each one of us are presented with challenges that I believe are uniquely curated just for us. And that's not to break us, but to grow us. Most of the things that we ask from God, most of the things that we want in this life just sit on the other side of those obstacles. And I believe there is a reason for that. If you start to think of someone that hits the jackpot overnight, most of the time that money is gone within a year. And why? Because that individual never grew into the kind of person who could carry the gift that they were given. And so these challenges, our growth, prepare us to hold what's coming. And that's why I hold on to this thought. The longer it takes, the better it tastes. Once I lock into what I'm trying to achieve, there's no plan B. Stay committed. You stay the course and embrace all the challenges along the way. Because at the end of the day, we're forged in the fire. And every time we're held against that flame, we come out stronger until finally nothing can break us. So set your goals, eliminate all other options, and stay the course. Push through until finally you get to where you're trying to go. Because at the end of the day, it's not a matter of if, but a matter of when. So feel free to reach out if you lack that accountability and support. I know I keep saying it, but I want this to be a community where we can lean on each other. So don't hesitate to reach out. Beyond that, you guys have a safe and happy weekend. God bless you all. Much love.